Let's start by listening to some Rangers fans, shall we?
Arrivo.
Point in the box. Fuck's it.
Yes!
It's top in the back stick! Woo! Oh, it's about time! It's about time! Come on! Oh, it's a lovely ball in the back stick. Arribo. Taft comes in for the left wing. Who knows why he's there? Feck that he is there. Up, wins the header. Keeper, no chance this time. Come on! Oh, man. Wow. Tell you, chat, moments like that are why you watch football, man. Moments like that. No other thing on the planet can make you feel like that, man. Come on! Right, come on. 5 minutes. Corner for St Johnstone, though, which I think will end up being the last attack of the game. The keeper's up for it, mate. This keeper's had such a game that I wouldn't put it past. No. Let's not say it. Let's not say it, mate. Mate, the keeper's just scored it. The keeper scored a header. Are you kidding? This is a glitch. This isn't real life. No. I need to wake up. No. Hold on. Penalties? Mate, are you kidding me? Tav steps up first. Saves it. Tav went straight down the middle. He's very clearly stepped off the line. This boy, he's missing. Into the roof of the net. And speaking of roof of the net, there's roof up next. Please. Saved. Oh, Mo McGregor. St Johnstone go through.
Don't get me wrong, league's priority.
Until the next one, chat. Cheers.
It's episode 14. It's the Dogger Saints Unofficial St Johnstone Podcast. We talked to Cup hero James Dunne about, being a Cup hero. We discussed the most dramatic and glorious end to a Scottish Cup tie in living memory, and we also head to Blockbuster Video, the Mega Bowl, and the Ukraine. All this and a whole lot more.
The Saints are coming. The Saints are coming. I say no matter how I try, there's no one. The Saints are coming. I say no matter how I try, there's no one.
It's episode 14, Dogger Saints Unofficial St Johnstone Podcast, and I'm joined by, as Jay-Z would call, Chaboy. It's Danny Williams.
Fuck me, dead, mate. Football. As a better man than me once said, football. Bloody hell.
But before anything, Dan, we have to thank Daniel.
Hi, Sam. You're welcome, mate.
It's another Daniel. It's the man behind Flonix Limited, who are kindly supporting the podcast this week. That's Flonix.
Don't you fucking dare.
I think we all know how to spell Flonix by now, I feel.
But if you don't, I have a song.
Oh, here we go.
Flonix. If you can't spell it, Guidi will instead. It's Flonix. They do IT solutions that I think are nice.
Is that it?
I'll work on the rest of it before the end of the episode.
Well, it sounds half finished, but what you've got there is a fucking modern day masterpiece, my friend.
It's up for the Ivan Novello.
Yep, so thanks to Flonix Limited, who are kindly sponsoring us this week. As you well know, Flonix offer flexible IT support, professional IT project delivery, and expert IT advice, and they are based in Perth. Go to flonix.co.uk for more information. That's how you do it, Guidi. Get it around you.
That's how you do it, son.
At time of recording, we usually like to get it recorded and edited well in advance, but it's going to be a late night tonight because we wanted to watch the Scottish Cup quarter-final match between Rangers and St Johnstone. Now, it finished 0-0 and it went to extra time. We're like, oh, for fuck's sake, hurry up, let's get this done one way or the other. Then Tavernier scored, and then we thought, right, that'll be it, done and dusted. And then St Johnstone managed to pop up and get an equaliser in the 194th minute. But we'll talk about that. 122nd minute. Xander Clark, ridiculous, up at that position in the first place. Got his head onto it. I hope he gets given the goal. I know Chris Gaine tapped over the line. I've not seen, like I said, at time of recording, it's literally just finished about 15 minutes ago. So let's talk about the match at hand.
I don't even know where to start, mate. It was honestly, everyone will be I think by the time people listen to this, they'll have settled down. But obviously, we're recording it, what we're now, 9:25. So, yeah, it's just finished. It was an absolute bonkers game of football. And, yeah, I don't really know where to start. I could try and be analytical about it. I could try and talk about the game as it was. You know what? Fuck it. Get it right round you, Rangers. Up the Perth St Johnstone. Honestly, us and our 4 fans will have all enjoyed that.
Have a look at the 90 minutes as a whole before extra time. Saints dug in. Xander Clark had a great 90 minutes.
Unbelievable. Absolutely exceptional. And it comes around once in a while, a performance like that, an individual performance like that, where people talk about it for years. Main against Dundee in 99.
Yeah.
Springs to mind. Often it is a goalkeeper. Main in 99 is the one that really springs to mind. People will be talking about that performance by Xander Clark for years. Some of the saves he made were the one, I can't even remember who it was who was through. I think it was Morelos.
He got it down with his foot.
The one he made with his legs.
Yeah.
It was just a fantastic reaction save. And there was so many good saves he made through the game. There was one, it came off a corner and it was a little bit unorthodox, but I think it was all he could do. And he basically clawed it from inside the post.
Oh, yeah.
And managed to get it clear.
Hollander, yeah. Yeah,
Hollander, that was it, Philip Hollander. It was, as you say, for large part of minutes, as you'd expect, Saints did have to dig the heels in and did have to dig deep. And there was probably maybe the best part of 50 minutes either side of half time, where whenever Saints did get the ball, maybe didn't make use of it. I think that Saints midfield the players in there are good footballers. They're not overly physical and they're not snide. Mm-hmm. So Rangers did get a bit of joy there. But look, Rangers have been the best side in the country all year. What are you going to expect? Saints did have, chances towards the end of the game. Actually thought made a really bright start.
And bang on cue, Danny Williams' microphone cuts off. It happens. I'll fill the gap in with a little. I'll fill the gap with an interlude. Is it working? There you are. You're back.
Yeah, much is the same as the game on Wednesday night, which I'm sure we'll touch upon. Not that anyone particularly cares anymore. But, and it took Rangers a little while a good 10 or 15 minutes to settle into the game. But yeah, 0-0, Saints a good, I wouldn't exactly say a tidy defensive performance or anything like that, but a gutsy performance, I think you'd put it, for 90 minutes. Extra time, I think the changes, to give Callum immense credit, I think he got the changes right and at the right time. The starting lineup was brilliant. I thought it was adventurous. I thought it was a real good statement of intent. Didn't quite happen for Melamed. I thought Stevie May worked his bollocks off. I thought he was fantastic without being particularly threatening, but that's just, he didn't have much to threaten with. I thought Chris Kane was put on at the right time, and I thought Michael O'Halloran was exceptional when he came on.
Give him a deal. Why not? Give him a deal.
Give him a deal. He looks like he's getting some sort of form back.
Yeah.
But so as you said, there was Rooney went close in extra time. O'Halloran came close. McGregor made a very good save off Chris Kane, and yeah, it did look like we were heading for penalties. And then there'd been warning signs there when a couple of balls had come into the box and the centre halves had not dealt with them. Maybe got a little bit caught underneath them. It can happen. There were good deliveries, and it was a good ball into the box. And Tavernier, what he was doing, playing basically centre forward, I don't know, but yeah, he was, and it looked like he got the winner.
Mm-hmm. He did. It was the roller coaster of emotion. Like, 5 minutes from penalties. The lottery of that is penalties. But touching on extra time, remember the commentator?
I'm gonna debunk that in a minute.
Okay.
I'm going to debunk that statement you just made in a minute.
Do so.
We'll move on.
But I'll make the point that one of the commentators was saying that, it might have been Cragen, that Saints are likely to tire I don't know why you would think that, considering we've got the smallest squad in the league and all these guys are 100% match fit because they're playing every week. They're not going to tire. They're not part-time players. They're full-time professional footballers. That's just it's a stupid statement to make.
The good professionals. They're all fit lads.
Mm-hmm.
And the fitness levels were outstanding. Not just in the legs, but upstairs. The sort of gumption they had about them to just keep going. And you sort of always thought, I thought, it's going to sound ludicrous because I was absolutely gutted when Tavernier put that ball away. But I still thought there's another chance in this. But the way Saints were playing, because Saints had that goal they scored, in the grand scheme of the match it hadn't, but in that sort of second period of extra time, it came against a run of play. And I thought, Saints still looked pretty fit here. Whether they must have been knackered, but they were still going. And it was O'Halloran, who obviously would have been the freshest of the bunch because he'd come on sort of late on. And he went and obviously won the corner. I really don't know how to explain the sort of next 30 seconds.
Well, I will let the fine people at Premier Sports do just that. This is what happened.
It's in from Craig, it's Zander Clark, it's in! It is unbelievable! Zander Clark! Well, sometimes football just comes up with the most unlikely of stories, the most unlikely of heroes. And Zander Clark, the St Johnstone goalkeeper, has equalised in the 122nd minute.
I tell you what, Rangers obviously didn't think he was going to score because nobody bothered to pick him up. Liam Craig lands the ball right in the middle of the 6-yard box. Alan McGregor can't get to it. It actually comes off Chris Key, and I think he may head on to him. I don't think anybody really cared. The fact that Zander Clark, he thinks he scored. I think somebody's going to have to break the news to him at some point. But at this moment in time, he's living the dream.
Yeah, so... and you'll never get tired of seeing that or hearing that. It'll be a moment that'll go down. People will be talking about that goal for the next 30, 40 years. Easy. It's now down in history now, that goal.
It's down in history. And, I've got a sneaking suspicion that it's going to go down as Chris Kane's goal.
Do you think they matter? Do you think he cares?
No, it didn't matter. It didn't matter who scored it. It could have been It could have been Borna Barisic who scored it, for all I cared. But it was, it's typical stuff, and it never comes off. It seldom comes off. Hold on.
I've just loaded up live score, and they've given it to Zander Clark.
Well, that's good enough for me.
Screenshot
the goalkeeper popping up and scoring, it never comes off. It rarely comes off. It's once in a blue moon stuff.
The last one to do it for Saints was Matt Glennon up at Dingwall years back. The place went mental, but not to do it at Ibrox in the last minute of extra time in a cup quarter final when you're a goal down. It was quite unbelievable.
I don't know how to explain the sort of noise that came out of my mouth when it happened.
I screamed, and then I ran upstairs to my wife, who was putting on fake tan, and she went, what is it? And I was like, what the fuck do you think it is? We've not lost. And then I woke the kids up. It was a weird noise, but it didn't really have much time to settle because it was straight into penalties. And then I'm thinking this could be an absolute roller coaster of emotion, from the highs of getting through the 90 minutes to the lows of Rangers scoring, back to the highs of Zander scoring, and then to penalties. But that was quashed pretty early on when Tavernier missed the first one.
Yeah, and I'll go back to the point where you say it's a lottery, and everyone says it's a lottery. It's not. It's a test of your skill under pressure. Taking penalties is a skill. And, all right, it's not a sort of there's usually like one designated penalty taker in the side or whatever. They practice it. They'll have known to practice it this week, knowing it could happen. And to execute that under pressure, the goalkeepers as well, and it was a very good save from Zander Clark, that one from Tavernier, because obviously he's put it down the middle, which is usually a fairly sensible bet because the keeper's going to dive.
Yep.
The way he's it wasn't a very good penalty, but the way he's got a hand to it, he sort of readjusted himself. And it's the perfect start because that's their best penalty taker out the road then. And he's missed. But what a sort of bunch of penalties Saints took though.
I know. First one up was Liam Craig, right in the bottom left corner. keeper to the keeper's right. Callum Booth, the exact same spot, as did Jermaine Defoe. Jermaine Defoe's penalty was an absolute peach.
That was a peach.
But Jason Kerr was up after that. I'm always worried when it comes to defenders taking penalties, but that is the exact way how to take a penalty.
It was a peach, wasn't it? I mean, centre-halves taking penalties is, half the time you're expecting it to end up in Roll's head. I really enjoyed that penalty because McGregor, fair enough, he was at it. He's making him go and collect the ball like off his line and all that. And Chase just absolutely levers it past him. I mean, if the net hadn't been there, I'm fairly convinced the ball would have still been travelling. Mullered the thing. But
that reminds me of the Sean Dyche penalty from years ago. Remember the Middlesbrough v Chesterfield game, FA Cup semi-final at Old Trafford? Now Burnley manager and shit jacket wearer Sean Dyche stepped up to take a penalty in that match, and I've never seen a ball hit that hard in my life. If you can find the footage on YouTube, watch it, but it actually moves that hard because he just put his toe right through it. It would have, if it hit the keeper in the chest, it would have still gone in.
Yeah, it was, Chesterfield robbed in that game as well. They had one bounce over the line.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
I'm not getting into that. I'm not getting into an FA Cup semi-final from 1997. But there was another little thing I liked about Jason Kerr's penalty. As he's walking away, he just had this little grin, as if to sort of say, that was fucking good, that was.
he knew fine well.
That felt good.
And as then Kamar Roof came up, who didn't do a very good job either.
No, didn't get it into the corner. Another good save from Dunn. I mean, it was one of them, you go the right way, you've got a pretty good chance, because he didn't get it anywhere near the corner. Wasn't a particularly great strike. So Ella Fallon, Ali McCann.
Exactly, the youngest man in a Saints shirt steps up. And this is what happened.
A swing of his right boot. McCann versus McGregor. McCann scores and St Johnstone are through to the semi-final. St Johnstone have already had a taste of silver this year, and they're after more. They do not know when they're beaten. Deep into stoppage time, in extra time, they were down. They hauled themselves off the canvas. They took it to penalties. They put so much into this, and they have triumphed. 1-1 on the night, but St Johnstone have won it. 4-2 on penalties, and the cup double is still on for St Johnstone. What a night at Ibrox Stadium.
He's going to win in penalty, Dan. We're in the semi-final of the cup again.
It's absolutely tremendous. And also, it's a fond farewell from the Dogger Saints podcast, because when someone from Premier Sports finds out about this and sues us, then we'll be or cease and desist, then we'll be up shit creek. Nice. What composure from the young man. And he just looked cool stepping up. And he's saying Alan McGregor is in goal, and he knows every trick in the book. He's experienced goalkeeper, great goalkeeper. And I was going to say he's probably faced hundreds of penalties in his career, but he's played most of it for Rangers, so he's probably faced about 2. But he's, he's just, you wouldn't want to face him, would you? And the bottle them lads showed stepping up. I mean, these are guys that, it's 2 defenders and a midfielder who's never taken a penalty in his life. Obviously, Liam Craig's one of the regular penalty takers.
Yeah.
But these lads have stepped up. They've kept the cool. They've executed the skills. I mean, I'm going to go back to Jason Kerr's penalty because I just can't get it out of my brain. But, fantastic. And I think it was thoroughly deserved.
I know. But we'll touch on the teams in the semi-final draw a bit later on. But what a night for St Johnstone Football Club again this season. They can do no wrong at the moment. Absolutely no wrong. We're in another semi-final, another trip to Hampden, and a chance of winning a historic cup double.
And I tell you what, Sam, I said it at the time of the League Cup final. How much do we need this at the minute? Or how much do we need? How lucky are we? We can count ourselves unlucky that we've not been there for any of these incredible things this season. But again, what a wonderful thing to have, and he's just so grateful to the team for giving us that. Tough times, man. It's a tough time, and this team's given us something to enjoy immensely. Been an unbelievable season.
To a man, they've been absolutely incredible. And one last time, I'm hitting this button. On the Perth St Johnstone. Should we keep the feel-good factor rolling, Dan?
I think we should, Sam. I think we always should.
Now, we've got a lovely story. A lovely story. We actually got this as part of our interview with Brogan The Beagle last week. If you've not listened, we heard all about his match day antics and what the man behind the mask, Jason Blythe, does for the club and with Brogan The Beagle. Now, he told us a story about former player, New Zealand international Rory Fallon. Easy for me to say. So I thought, that's a really nice little heartwarming story, that. So I've got it here for you now. Do you want to hear it, Dan?
I would like to hear it, Sam. Again, because I was there.
I was going to say, yeah, would you like to hear it back?
Yes.
Here it is from our conversation with Jason last week, his Saints story for the week.
You remember Rory Fallon?
Yeah, big New Zealand boy.
New Zealand boy, like loads of Saints fans hate him. Like, well, they don't hate him, they just thought he was mince. But can I tell you a quick story about him?
I go for it.
So he's from New Zealand. My mum's from New Zealand as well. And my mum was hosting this New Zealand dinner. So she got in touch with Saints to say, does he want to come to it? So he ended up coming to this New Zealand dinner. And then I started chatting away to him, saying, I'm a Saints fan. And he was playing for Saints at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he just scored his first goal as well. So he was on a high. And then I said to him, he says that he's into his guitar. And I said, well, I'm a music teacher and I play drums. And he goes, oh, cool. Well, I've been trying to start a band. But where do you live, Jason? Oh, I live in Perth. But I teach in Stirling. He goes, oh, you train in Stirling. Do you want to come round for a wee jam or something? Me and Alan Maris have got a wee band going. I'm like, sure. So me, Rory, and Alan Manis had a wee band going. So if you ever get Alan Manis on, ask him. Now, Alan only came to one session, and then Rory started falling out of favour of the team, and then he ended up going down to Crawley after that. So, but me and Rory were playing, like, jamming every week.
What did Alan Manis play, instrument-wise?
I think he's either bass or guitar. I think it was guitar, but I think he's a lefty. But yeah, he was playing guitar. I think it was just electric guitar. So it was me, Rory, Alan Manis, and they were going to get who's the boy who plays for Hamilton? He's played for Saints.
Easton. Aye,
so they're going to get him to come on. Then he got injured or something like that. So we're going to have a wee band going. It was brilliant. I was just like drumming away. I'm like, that's Alan Manis, that's Rory Fallon. It was amazing. Anyway, Rory Fallon fell out of favour of the team and ended up cutting his contract short and went down to Crawley. So he phones me up and he says, Jason, you wanting some gear? I'm like, oh, aye, please, that'd be great. So I drove through to Leith and he gave me like all his Saints training gear, not a strip, but all his Saints training gear, some Nike football boots because he got sponsored by Nike. And he'd actually scored the winning goal for New Zealand against Bahrain to get them into the World Cup. So he's a big hero over there.
Yeah.
He gave me, he just got back from the World Cup qualifier against Mexico and gave me a strip. Which was absolutely amazing. I was like, I cannot. Honestly, he's one of the nicest guys. But honestly, Rory Fallon, absolutely the top guy, really good guy.
Rory Fallon, the things you don't know about players behind closed doors.
I tell you what, not just Rory Fallon. What a life Jason leads.
He was telling us off air that he managed to convince the drummer from the Bare Naked Ladies to come to his Battle of the Bands at Wallace High School. He's
like Walter Mitty, apart from everything sort of happened.
Yeah.
Like a truth-telling Craig White.
There you go. That was our story this week. Lovely. If you've got any stories about being in band with any St Johnstone player, let us know. It doesn't have to be that out there, but if you do have any stories, get in touch the usual channels, Instagram, Twitter or Facebook. But if you want to slag us off or make corrections that we've done, like Kevin Heller has this week, please don't, because we don't need it. We don't need it in our lives, this kind of negativity. We're a positive bunch, me and you, Dan, aren't we?
I would say that we are Perth and Kim Ross's most positive characters.
This is very true. We usually have at the very start of the podcast a follow-up clarification and correction section. Now, that took a wee back step through the priority, obviously, of the Cup quarter-final masterclass, which happened tonight. But we do have a correction.
We do have a correction.
And it was you that made the mistake.
Shock horror.
This was in reference to last week's Everton USB plug in our club shop of shame. Now, you stated that this was from the blue half of Merseyside.
Yeah.
Which all seems well and good. However, Kev Heller has written in to say Tranmere are part of Merseyside as well. It should be 1/3, the blue third of Merseyside. You're not having that?
Yeah. I mean, I like Kev, but really don't care.
Nobody cares.
I'll be honest. No, I jest. I should have said, the blue half of Liverpool, and obviously Tranmere Rovers being on the Wirral Peninsula. So they've basically got the whole of the Wirral Peninsula to themselves, apart from the fact I think Marine play there.
Do they?
Again, who I don't care about.
I'm sure there must be an AFC Birkenhead or something.
Oh, there's got to be. There'll be all sorts of capering Scouse bastards. And speaking of capering Scouse bastards, how about Stephen Gerrard's face at the end of proceedings tonight?
Oh, it doesn't get much better than tonight, does it?
No.
But I do have a clarification for this week, Dan. I have to clarify why, for the first time in our season history, that we had an episode go out late on air.
We did. Now, I would like to distance myself from this faux pas because I don't deal with that editorial side of it, mainly because I'm quite lazy.
Well, this is true. It's all in my capable hands and the good ladies. But what happens is it goes out at 6 p.m. I finish work at 3:30 on a Monday. I come home. I do a couple of hours editing. Lynn puts lots of nice jingles in it. And then bang, 5:30, 5:45, it's out for 6 o'clock. That's how we roll. But unfortunately, I got a text, Dan, last Monday afternoon.
I know where this is going. But I'm trying not to crack up because it's brilliant.
I had to go buy goldfish on Monday after work.
The one time we've ever put an episode out after the stated time, and it's because you're capering about buying goldfish.
Yeah, my youngest Miles had told everybody at nursery that he was getting goldfish and he was really excited. We had the tank and that all set up, and I was thinking that we'll get it at some point this week. And
can I interrupt briefly?
Yes, you may.
Right. Now, Miles is one of my sort of favourite characters. He's an extraordinarily sort of hilarious wee fella. He just keeps giving thumbs up. He keeps telling people that teamwork makes the dream work. I need to know, had you or Lynn told him that he was getting goldfish prior to him going about telling everyone he was, or has he just made this up?
He's made that up.
Backed you into a corner.
He's made it up because we were cleaning out the shed and we found a fish tank in the shed. And he went, "Oh, I can get fish," and then that was it. So it's great hustle from the young fella. He's got us wrapped around his finger, the wee guy. But we've now got 3 goldfish. It wasn't just one because we had to get one for Noel and one for the dog.
Why did the dog have to get one?
I don't know, Dan. I don't know. But I do know that the fish's names are Hot Dogs, Oscar, and Baby David.
Baby David.
Again, that asks more questions than it answers. But there we go. 3 goldfish, and for that, I apologise unreservedly for the podcast being half an hour late on Monday.
Flonix offers flexible IT support, professional IT project delivery, and expert IT advice. Our head office is based in Perth, but with offices in Edinburgh, Manchester and London, we service most areas within the UK. We can support any size of company, and we excel in delivering fast, reliable and accountable service to our clients. We take a flexible approach to IT, which is determined by our clients' business needs. We can operate as the client's IT department or add to an existing IT resource within the company. Our people are highly trained professionals who have the expertise to access, repair and maintain any PC, server, network or Apple Mac system. Check out flonix.co.uk for all the details.
Should we get a guest on?
I think we should get our guest on, Sam.
I think the timing of this couldn't be any better this week.
No, it has worked out. We have pulled a homer.
So we have a Scottish Cup winner on the podcast this week.
We do indeed, Sam.
And we did a poll right at the very start of the podcast saying who was our best ever loan player. And during the interview, we completely forgot to tell them about it.
Yeah, we made a total holics of that. But we can tell you all now, and we'll do the poll.
We cannot do the poll without the jingle. It's been a few weeks since we've played it. So here it is. Oh, I've missed that. Right, here we go. The first poll is St Johnstone's best ever loan player. Take it away.
I have also missed that lovely drum roll, Sam. It brightens my day. Anyway, so we asked you a while ago now, who was St Johnstone's greatest ever loanee? So we gave you 4 options, and we had a joint, technically it's a joint 4th, but we'll say a joint 3rd. So the joint 3rd was Mehdi Abeid,
Good player. Still doing really well.
very, very good player. Came to Saints on loan in 2013 from Newcastle United. He got 18% of the vote, and he was tied with 2021 Scottish Cup quarter-finalist, and no further, Alan McGregor.
Oh, a fitting, good player. I think he had the shutout record for Saints at the time. I think he had 7 or 8 consecutive shutouts. He had a great spell.
Yeah, it was a long time ago now when he had a long spell at Saints, but he was absolutely fantastic between the sticks for Saints. Shite at saving penalties. So in second place, with 25% of the vote, was a very recent one, only earlier this season, the Cockney Irishman himself, Danny McNamara.
Very nice. A great lone player. Did really well on us for St Johnstone in the first half of the season. Rightly got recalled by Millwall. Yeah,
absolutely. He's an excellent player for Saints first half of this season, earned his place back at Millwall, and come back to what you know was a belting song from the 90s.
Oh, I love the 90s.
I can't believe I just said something nice about Embrace. Anyway, the winner, with 39% of the vote, 2014 Scottish Cup winner, and this week's interviewee is James Dunne.
Well, that is blimmin' good timing, isn't it? A great player. The Dogger Saints Unofficial St Johnstone Podcast would love to welcome on James Dunne.
How are you, all right?
Very well, thank you very much for coming on.
That's okay, no problem.
How's your season going with Barnet? Start at the top.
Oh yeah, it's not been a very good season, to be fair. We had a good manager the season before. Darren Curry last season, who was a very good manager, and he left in the summer. He brought me in. I've worked with him before. He's a very good manager. And then he left, and then we had a manager come in, Peter Beadle, who I think the level was a bit too, not that the level's high, but I think the level was too much for him with the sort of players who was in the team at the time, and quite outspoken players, some people in there. So
where was he before?
I don't know. That's what I mean. I heard of him before he come in, and then after that they let him go, and then Tim Flowers come in, and that was okay for the sort of team that we were. Because last season we was a passing team, and then obviously this season we've been more sort of direct, which I didn't think helped our sort of style of play, the way we wanted to play. Mm-hmm. With the players that we had in there. So it sort of didn't work with Tim Flowers either. Then Tim left, and we've had a manager has come in now called Simon Bass. He's sort of been in and around these leagues, knows how to get promoted, and he's come in and done really well. So yeah, obviously not a great season, but we move on.
That's it. Well, we'll talk about happier times. We'll go back. This has always interested me, and it's always a question I was always wanted to know is, you're with Stevenage at the time, and then you came to St Johnstone on loan. How does a move like that come about?
Yeah, so basically I was at Stevenage, and we had a manager called Graham Wesley. I don't know if you've heard about him. He is a nutcase. Like, you're talking sort of, you have to be in at 9 and you probably won't leave till about 6 o'clock in the evening, which is...
Wow.
For some people that's okay, but obviously for some people it's. I mean, don't get me wrong. I thought he was a very good manager and how he deals with stuff, but his training methods and stuff that he done, I sort of didn't agree with. You play on a Saturday. If you're in on a Sunday, fair enough. But it's usually if you played on a Saturday, it's a warm down, not a proper session on a Sunday when it's family day or whatever, and you're not getting home until 5 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. You're like, this ain't sort of. So I didn't really get on with him. And then my old agent I'm talking when I was really, really young, so probably I think I was sort of 8, 9 at the time. He was my agent. Oh, sorry, he was my manager when I was at Wimbledon. And then he sort of went into a bit of agency. Scott Young, his name is. He's a Scottish fella. And, I think he knew Tommy Wright. And Tommy said, I'm looking for a midfielder. And I think he had watched me a few times. Or obviously they have what's that thing there where they can scout players now? It's called Y Scout, I think. it has all videos on and stuff like that.
Oh,
Players
right, okay.
like their best. I think that's how we probably got to know me from on there. But obviously coming up to Scotland, me and my missus we had just moved into a flat, so it was like all of a sudden, bomb. I was up in Scotland, she was down here still, so that was a bit of a shock to her because we had not long been together. But I was a bit apprehensive. I was like, Scotland's far to go. Am I good enough for the level? Because it was Premiership. Talking about your Celtics, your Aberdeens, and people like that, Burnley and us. So and there was another team. I think it was Hamilton as well. But then I looked at the two teams, and I think Hamilton were down the bottom. And I'm looking at St Johnstone, and they were like third in the league at the time, and they were still in the FA Cup. So it was a no-brainer for me, really. I'll go to St Johnstone. So
had you actually heard of them before you came up, or were you aware of them, or?
Yeah, listen, I'm like one of them. Watch if there's football on the telly, no matter what it is, I'll watch it. So and I sort of knew Lee Croft, sort of half knew him. So sometimes I would, if he was on, I'd watch him or whatever. So I didn't really know a lot, and until I spoke to, I think Phil Murray's come on. Did Phil Murray?
Yeah, Phil Murray played with us. Yep, he played.
I was at Stevenage with him. And so I spoke to him just before I come, and he was like, "Yeah, it's ledge." He loved it there, so it was sort of a no-brainer for me. So I was like, "Yes, let's sort of get on the road and see what Tommy was saying."
Great, and you came up. Was your debut the 4-4 match in the cup? Was that your first match?
Yeah, I think it was. I come on, I think with about 20 minutes to go, I think.
And you managed to score? You thought this must be a piece of piss?
Yeah, I was buzzing, but then it all just come because I'd watched the final, because I wasn't on the bench or anything. It was literally the first game, and then I was in. So, and I was watching the game, and I think we lost 4-0 against Hearts, and I was sort of panicking.
Oh, Aberdeen in the League Cup semi it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I come up, and I was sort of saying to my mum and dad, like, I don't know if, because a footballer, when you are sort of going through that, you're not playing, the manager doesn't like you, you sort of think, oh, is it me? You start thinking that, is it me? Am I starting to get bad or whatever? And I was looking at the game and I was thinking, oh, am I going to be able to hack it in this league? Because I looked at it and it was so, Aberdeen, it was so fast, and even us boys, it was fast, and I was thinking, am I going to get in the team? But, and then obviously 4-5 come on, obviously scored a goal. I was buzzing. I was thinking, oh, all right. But then I was thinking, oh, okay, 4-5 a bit down. And then I remember on a Wednesday, or I think it was the Thursday, the press day, the gaffers, Tommy's pulled me to the side and was like, the press want to speak to you, you're playing on Saturday. And I didn't know who was playing, and I quickly checked. It was Celtic away. And I was like, I literally hadn't played in, I'd say probably 6 months. I hadn't played. So from the start of the season to sort of January time when I come, I hadn't played a game. And I was thinking, I've played no games. I've played 20 minutes away at Forfar. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm now playing Celtic at Celtic Park. I was sort of bricking it a bit. And then after that, obviously we lost 4-0. And then I was thinking, well, have I made the right decision here? Because I don't think I'm going to play a lot. Because the gaffer's probably thinking, oh, what have I signed here? I had a speaker against Celtic. I couldn't breathe. They kept the ball so well. And I was like, oh my God. And then I sort of settled down. Once I started to play a few games, I sort of settled down a bit and sort of, it was, the Celtic game was mad.
Yeah, it was. He had a pretty good run of games with us. We'll go in the cup stuff. We've spoke to loads of people that have been at the final and the semi-final, and about 90% of the people we've spoke to who were at the game as a spectator said they preferred the semi-final against Aberdeen more than the final.
Semi-final was ridiculous. Just because obviously I think we had played Aberdeen, I think I'd played them 3 times and they'd beaten us every time.
Yeah.
And we just, it might have been 2 when I was there. I found a very good team. They had some very good players, and I was thinking, and then they went 1-0 up, and they sort of, first half, they sort of had us a bit, we was a bit on the back foot, and then sort of the second half, we just come out, the first 20 minutes, we looked dangerous, and we looked like we was going to score. And then obviously, Stevie May does what he does best, and scores goals, and, got us into the final. But that was, I do prefer the semi-final compared to the final.
Yeah, James, just a game moving on from that, actually. So between just to break the cup channel, between the semi-final and the final, because obviously by that point, you're going to be playing Dundee United, a very sort of capable Dundee United side. There was a league game in between, and McDermott, 2-0. Was there a sort of feeling around that of, right, let's make a statement in this game?
I'm not sure, because I thought Dundee were a good team, but every time we played them, we seemed to we really played well. I think I did play them 3 games, and I think we won all 3 games. So I looked at it as like, May the 17th, Stevie May was number 17. So I was like, and I remember, I think they hit the post in the first half. I think I made a bad clearance. I think I kicked it against Ando, I think.
Nah, it wouldn't have been you.
He scored, I think they hit the post. And then the second half, they hit the crossbar, come down under our thing. And then from then, I was like, we're going to win this. That's it.
You had a good ping in the first half, though, if I remember. Did you not? There was Spinney played you a ball and a good volley on it.
Yeah, it was a bit straight, to be fair. The keeper made it look good.
A bit of a camera save.
Yeah, bit of a camera save, yeah.
But if you look back to that Dundee United team now, some of the boys that were in that team, your Andrew Robertson was in, Stuart Armstrong. There's just two names I've pulled out the bag who they've not done too badly for themselves.
No, exactly. Obviously, Robbo's at Liverpool, unbelievable. Probably one of the best left backs, maybe in the world at the moment. And there's a couple gone on to Celtic, haven't they?
There was Stuart Armstrong. Mackay Stephen went off to American Celtic, but a lot of the team have kind of gone on to, I think Chifchi as well, the guy that hit the crossbar, he moved on to Celtic as well eventually. But the thing I remember most about the semi-final actually was I was at a wedding the day before and I was hungover to death turning up for the bus, but I think I was still the last man standing, other than one other person in the loft that night. I think that might have been you and George Browning. You can't beat a night in the loft.
Mate. Good reason.
Yeah, I can't even remember that night, to be fair. That was just... and the thing is, after that game, so my mum and dad were up for that game, and my dad was absolutely fuming because my mum and dad, ages ago, had booked a holiday. They were like travelling around, I think it was America, and he was he never misses a game, my dad. So he was absolutely fuming that we've now got to a final and he's not going to get it. So he was looking up, he tried to cancel a whole holiday to book, but in the end, I just said, listen, and they were watching it on the aeroplane on the way back through the Wi-Fi, what they all had on the thing. So poor plane, they must have been going mad.
Jeez, that's not bad going. Did you go away before the match for a couple of days to kind of get away from the media and stuff like that? Or?
Yeah, I forgot where we went. I forgot what the place was called, but it was it was a lovely place. We just did loads of. I think we did the suit fitting and suit pictures on at the hotel, and then we had clay pigeon shooting. I can't remember what there was. You could go fishing. No, we didn't, but you could do fishing if you want. The place was unbelievable, to be fair. And I'd say that the group of boys that we had there was just. I don't think I've ever been in a team. I think last year we had a team that come close, but I don't think I've ever been in a team that had that much sort of, you're talking your team spirit, your banter, and everything. It was a really good bunch of boys. I first come and I walk in and I've got you've got big Chrissy Uluma in there.
Yeah.
Made me feel welcome straight away, and I was like, because I was a bit nervous. I was like, oh, it's so far from me, and Crofty looked after me, to be fair, and obviously Stevie May, we was always round his house, him cooking us a pasta or whatever. It was a good laugh. We used to go to casinos on a Wednesday and have a bit of poker night. It was funny. The boys were a good bunch of boys, and the coaching staff were good, to be fair, with us. And the gaffer, me, Crofty, and Stevie, the gaffer just couldn't. I don't think he could handle us because we was just always having banter or doing something wrong that we shouldn't be doing, and he was just like, "You two, you three just began mad at us." But he was good with us. The thing is with Tommy, he said to me, like, I turned up, me and my dad turned up, and they were on their Christmas party, like all the staff.
Okay.
So we turned up to this hotel, and they was all steaming. So he's come out, he's like a steamboat, and he was like, listen, I can't talk to you now. Blah, blah. Come and have a drink with us if you want. I'll talk to you in the morning. So, like, obviously, my dad's travelled down. He was just going to book a flight home over the next couple of days. And Tommy was like, don't worry, we'll sort out the flight for you. So they looked after my dad straight away. Like, he said to me the next day, he was a man manager.
Mm-hmm.
So he said to me, listen, don't lie to me. If you're going home at the weekend, just let me know. And you come in on Thursday. If we haven't got a game, I'll see you Thursday. So he was a man, and it just made you want to sort of like play for him, run through brick walls for him. I think that's probably why he done so well with the boys. I think they all felt the same about him. He was a man management. He'd tell the truth, and that was it. And he was brilliant.
Yeah.
Callum was brilliant as well. He's manager now. They only won. He won a trophy was that the League Cup?
Yeah, the League Cup. Yeah,
Yeah.
So he's done not too bad for his first season in charge. But yeah, Tommy Wright, he's one of football's good guys. Nobody really has a bad word to say against him. Even when he left Saints, we think he left to go to get the Northern Ireland job. Never got it. So he needs to be in football. He's at Kilmarnock, and once again they've got the beating at Dundee United. So he's still doing it.
You know what? He wanted to keep me for the next season, but at the time it just wasn't right. Me and my missus just lost a baby, so it's like, and my missus couldn't move up from work, and I think she needed to be near her family and stuff like that. So otherwise, I would have stayed. Like, even my missus loved it as well. She was looked after in the bar. She didn't watch the game. She just went to the bar, got pissed in the bar. They all looked after her.
Priorities.
She was, priorities. Yeah, she's not really. Her family are more rugby, so they're not too much.
Dear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Did you get a flat or someplace when you moved up? Who did you stay with?
Yeah, so I got there's a big castle just around the corner.
Oh, Hunting Tower.
I think so, yeah. And they have all little, where the horse, like stables that have been made into houses.
Oh, there would have been Jeff Brown's.
So then it was me, and then I moved next door to Crofty. So that's how,
wow.
He was always sort of in trouble. Yeah, exactly. Crofty he's just the tightest man you'll ever meet, Crofty.
Really?
He tightened. I think we came back from a game, and it was literally, we was going to McDonald's, but I forgot my card and everything. So I said, Crofty, can you lend me I think it's like £3 or something like that to get a box of chicken nuggets or whatever? And he was like, yeah, no problem. Literally the next day, he's knocking on my door don't forget you owe me that £3.
You'd obviously been living in Scotland too long. That's why that's happened to him.
He was just the tightest man ever. Honestly, his mate come down. His mate come down from Manchester. So we went to a restaurant, a lunchtime restaurant after training. He's literally, I said, me and you are just half the bill. I don't even know the bloke, but I was just chatting away to him, and that. Crofty was like, no, he can pay his own way. I'm like, down. What are you talking about?
Let's talk about the final. Biggest game in a lot of people's careers. Massive crowd, but I think the biggest travelling St Johnstone support ever.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, with how many people came with a town that's such small populations. To get that many people to come and support us, it was great. Really was.
Were you nervous before the game, or how were you feeling going into it?
I don't know. You know what? So we stayed at this hotel the night before, and we went a sort of couple of days before, and it was just so chilled. It was sort of I usually get nervous before games, and I probably was nervous, but it was, I don't know, really. It was something. I think the first half, I was struggling to get my breath a couple of times because it was just so your adrenaline's so pumping, and I think that sort of took the nerves away. The adrenaline, your first couple of passes, you're like, oh. But then after that, I sort of settled down into the game and sort of enjoyed it in the end, because by the end of it, I know they was trying to get the goal, but by the end we were sort of playing. The crowd was shouting the old ladies and stuff like that when we were playing. So it was good. The final was, and then obviously when they blow the whistle, because I ain't won anything in my career. So that was my only medal sort of professionally that I've won. So it was
yeah, mental. I bet.
You just touched on it there, James, because we watched it back a few times since I sort of noticed it at the time, but it was such an open game. I mentioned this to your midfield partner, Chris Miller, a few weeks back. Did that help you settle down into the game quite quickly? Because it was so open. We try to play football, they try to play football.
Yeah, well, I think you sort of had to, because if you wasn't, because they did it. I think the first sort of 5-10 minutes, they could have had a goal or even two. So when we sort of settled down into the game of the team, we started to play the football round nicely, the ball round nicely, and the game sort of slowed down. Although it was still end to end, the game sort of slowed down a bit. So, but games like that, it's very tense, and it's very, sometimes can be 100 miles an hour because people want to impress and stuff like that. But I thought after the 5-10 minutes that we had, I thought we settled into the game really well and sort of went on from that, and obviously got our goals and won.
Did indeed. Have you watched it back?
Loads of times. My dad, mum and dad, they watch it like when it's every May 17, they usually watch it. Mum
Nice.
usually watched it now. Dad used to watch it. I think we've watched it loads of times, to be fair. So.
It's like when the family friends come round, it's like putting on the holiday pictures on the big screen. No, get the game on, get the Scottish Cup final on. My boy's in it.
That's what they like, yeah.
When did you find out you were playing? Was it the day, or did you know all week, or was the team already picked well in advance?
So I think the last game we played, was Inverness away.
Yeah.
And it was I think he was sort of saving, I think, because he spoke to a few of us and said, we played Celtic, and he rested quite a few of us. I think that was before Inverness. And then we played Inverness, and he said, I don't really want to play a sort of full sort of strength team. So I think he played a bit of us and just said, I think some of us played like 60, 70 minutes and then come off. Because I know this sounds silly, but if you sort of you're playing all these games and all of a sudden you miss 2 games, you sort of, I don't know, as a footballer, you sort of lose a bit of your sort of fitness and stuff like that.
Okay.
So although it was good to sort of have a bit of a rest, it was good to get the game sort of just before the final. Because obviously we were still playing for something in the league. We was thinking, if we didn't get into Europe sort of through the cup, then we're getting to Europe through the league. So we still had things to play for in the league, which was good. But obviously didn't really need to because we won the cup. So
It's a shame you didn't stay around for the European trip.
I know. That's all it was. It was just wrong.
Wrong time.
Really.
Certainly can't blame you for having to make the decision you did do. Did you keep in touch with any of the boys?
So it's me, Crofty, Stevie, Paddy, Craig, and Chris Tulum and Nigel Hasselbank. We used to be in a car school. But Lumi's car, Chris's car had 7 seats. It was the only car so he used to drive all the time. But we all used to put because we used to be at petrol seats. So what we used to do is say that we're all driving, and then we all get we get a big extra money. So we throw Chris a bit of money, and then
that's it.
We'd all be like that. We'd be down the cafe. There was a nice cafe in the centre of town, and we used to go there for lunch, like literally every day, all of us. So I still speak to Crofty a bit. Stevie, I speak to not quite a bit, about the same. And obviously like your Twitters and stuff like that, you're always sort of seeing what people are doing and replying to their tweets or whatever. So
that's it.
I'd say it was a very good bunch of boys, all of them. Made me feel welcome anyway. That's
it. I think every kind of generation of Saints teams has that kind of spirit. I think they've got it at the moment. They've obviously with the League Cup win. A couple of the boys are still in the squad. Spinney's still there. Michael O'Halloran, Stevie May. So there's still a few of the boys kicking around.
Yeah, Stevie's been a bit unlucky, to be fair to him, with the injuries that he's had.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's done his knee, 2 or 3 times now.
Yeah.
So, which has been unlucky for him because he probably would have gone on to probably still be playing in the Championship now, really, or maybe even better. So, but just a bit unlucky.
It is, but no, he had a great game against Rangers. To be fair, he was definitely
brilliant.
Yeah, he had a really good game without scoring, certainly. But
yeah, just a quick one, James. We've touched upon team spirit, and as Sam said, it goes from generation to generation. Really, at Saints. Did that really help you as a lone player coming in? Does that help you settle really quickly?
Yeah, because like I said, the first day I come in, I was welcomed into the change room. Everyone sort of come over, seeing how I am. The second day I moved in next door to Crofty, so I was sort of close to him quick. And yeah, the boys were just, you never sort of left on the outside. So, for example, they had a breakfast room. So I didn't know they had a breakfast room, but they'd be like, there's a breakfast room down there if you want to come get some breakfast with us and all that. For the dinner and the lunch, go to the cafes after training or food in the evening. So they made me feel welcome, especially because obviously, like you say, I'm a lone player. I'm only there for sort of till the end of the season. But like I said, the team spirit in that group is one of the best I've had. Honestly, the boys were, all of them, brilliant. Good laugh, good banter. And when it's time to be serious, they were serious. And it was good. And I think that's why we did so well. Obviously, they were still doing well before I come, but I think that's why we went on to do better.
Mm-hmm. Not much more we can say about that. I think you've echoed the words of many a player that's came on, James.
No problem, fellas. No problem. St Johnstone was unbelievable time in my career, you know, even for the shortest time that it was. They looked after my family when I come down, and they looked after me. So, yeah, I've not got one bad bit to say about the whole place.
Are we officially your Scottish club now?
They are. I always look at the scores, always, whenever they're on TV, I always watch. So I hope they keep winning. Hopefully they can win another title soon as well.
Yeah, well, you must be proud. You're a part of history. Where do you keep your medal?
The medal's in the safe, but I've got like a thing in the hallway of the game. I'll find the light.
Just for the listeners, we're getting a tour here. I feel very privileged.
There it is. I'll take a photo on my screen. There it is. Happy days.
That's brilliant.
Final.
Nice. Looking good. Yeah. A proud moment.
That was a proud moment. A proud moment.
James, thanks for coming on, mate. Appreciate it.
No problem, fellas. Thank you.
Thanks again, bud. Thanks, mate. Cheers. See ya. Bye-bye.
Okay, James.
So, this is our most popular feature on our podcast every week. It's the bit where we say how great the guests have been.
Yeah. Broken record stuff, but genuinely, I mean, what a nice lad. I really, genuinely lovely guy. Another one who holds Saints obviously in great affection. And he'll forever be etched into history.
Indeed he is. His name, he's got the shirt on his wall. We've seen it.
We have seen it. We got a virtual tour of his sort of hallway.
It's a nice hallway nonetheless. A bit Magnolia.
Oh, it was a very nice hallway.
But do you know what I like, Dan?
What do you like, Sam?
I like asking the listeners their opinion on things. Fancy another poll?
I do fancy another poll, Sam.
Here we go. It's poll number 2 of the show. This is Poll Daft.
Oh, we have gone Poll Daft.
So, what was this one in regards to, Dan?
Well, Sam, this one, quite topically now, was with regards... Sorry, I've lost the plot completely there because some numbnuts is pipping his horn outside. Or an alarm's going off or something, probably the laugh. Anyway, so this poll that we asked you, our good listeners, and our bad ones too. Yes, we've no bad listeners. I'll get it out eventually. Was your favourite comeback? And this was out of the 4 options we gave you. So, as ever, in reverse order. So in 4th place, I'm surprised about this actually, mainly given the opposition. But with 6% of the vote, it was Celtic in 2012.
Oh yeah, the Chris Commons scored, and then it's probably because Rowan Vine scored the winner. That's what I'm putting that down to.
It probably is, and it was sort of a bog standard league game. It was opening day of the season, admittedly. I think that was the first Rangers-less season as well.
Okay.
And it's nice having Rangers-less things like a Rangers-less Scottish Cup. Anyway, so yeah, Celtic in 2012. Was it Tade got the equaliser?
Tade got the equaliser pretty soon after Commons got the opener, and then Rowan Vine admittedly scored a cracking goal. Kind of rolled out with his feet and curled it in the top bin. Great goal. Great win. But 6% of the vote, the people have spoken. What was number 3?
Number 3, you don't have to cast your mind back very far here. Now, this was Kilmarnock, which we discussed on the very first episode of this podcast. Oh, heady days when my when I didn't switch my microphone on. But yeah, 3-2, 2-0 down at half time. Against, still at that point, Alex Dyer's Kilmarnock. And it was goals from
Melamed,
McCann,
and Davidson, maybe?
Murray, yeah. Yeah, It was Melamed, Davidson, and then McCann. It wasn't that long ago. I don't know how I couldn't remember it off the top of my head. So now in second place, again, not that far back, 2017, an absolutely bonkers finale at Easter Road.
Is that the one where McLean scored at the very, very death? I know there's a few late comebacks at Easter Road, but this one particularly was pretty special.
Do love a late goal at Easter Road. But yeah, this one was, in fact, for the vast majority of the game, it was a little bit of a non-event. And then Murray Davidson put Saints ahead. It was 74 on the clock. Looked like we're heading towards a 1-0. Anthony Stokes equalised from the penalty spot in the first minute of stoppages. And then Stephen McLean popped up the third minute of stoppages, sealed the 3 points, and I think that was the game where he then went shirtless and then just charged through the stand at Easter Road.
What a guy. What a guy. It's a shame.
Absolutely incredible rustling.
Well, if it wasn't him, it would have been Xander Clark up there.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
goal machine, man.
We were 1 up and we did win it 2-1. They did equalise. It is a comeback of sorts.
It was great, so we're counting it. There is no logic to this, Sam. Hey, we're picking 4 games out of the entire freaking history of St Johnstone. So
yeah,
I think we're well through Looking Glass.
Yeah, we must admit it is out of the options we gave you. We always give you that stipulation.
Number 1 was obviously the Scottish Cup semi-final at Ibrox in 2014. Now, Sam, I'm going to let you talk us through this because I know it's a personal favourite of yours.
It was a great day. Lost 4-0 to Aberdeen in the League Cup semi at Tynecastle earlier on in the season. Didn't really expect much out of this. I didn't think many Saints fans did. There was about 3,500 through at Ibrox. It just didn't even half fill the little bottom tier behind the goal. McGinn puts them 1 up at half time. You think, here we go again. And Stevie May puts St Johnstone in dreamland. 2 goals. We're in a final. We know we're playing Dundee United, and it kind of the whole May 17 thing starts coming out of the bag that match. It was unbelievable, and yep, the best comeback against a pretty strong Aberdeen team again. So a lot of pressure and a very much deserving comeback victory. But would this match against Rangers in the quarterfinal of this year's Scottish Cup overtake that?
I don't know. I think you've got to give it time and see what it leads to, because obviously the Aberdeen one, this is my theory on it, might not be as fondly remembered if the final hadn't gone the way it did.
That's true.
It just might not have been. It's because of what it led to. If whatever the hell that was, if that leads to something similar, then I think it would be right up there. Plus, goalkeeper scoring in the last minute. If that's not your sort of winner, then we all give up, because that is the funniest possible thing that can happen in a football pitch, or football in the nuts. Football in the groin. Football in the... Xander's goal had, but football in the groin had a football in the groin.
That's the second Simpsons reference you managed to shoehorn in tonight. Don't know how you managed it, but fair play. Now, we didn't go last week, but do you fancy going on a wee holiday?
You know what, Sam? I think after that, I could do with a wee holiday. What are we thinking?
We are going, Dan, to the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, a.k.a. the USSR. Knew it would come to the time when we could shoehorn something Rocky IV in here.
Drago!
We are not here to cover Ivan Drago. We are here to cover the man who's number 2 on the all-time greatest St Johnstone list.
We've done some inauspicious Saints, but we're probably now going to go for the most auspicious of all Saints, and we're going to go with Sergei Baltacha.
Big Sergei, what a player, what a guy. He was a legend when he arrived, he was a legend when he left, and to this day he is still an absolute club icon and hero.
I mean, you talk to Saints fans of a certain age and you say who was the best player they've seen play for St Johnstone. Invariably, they either say immediately Baltacha without a second thought, or he's in the sort of names they mention, and then they deliberate for a bit and then they come out with Baltacha.
Yeah, he came over. He was the first Soviet Union player to play in Britain when he came over to play for Ipswich. And he left them after a couple of seasons because they were playing him out of position. Ian Redford, who was with Saints at the time, asked him if he wanted to come up to Saints, and they promised that they would play him as a sweeper, and that's what he did. He was well decorated as a football player back in the Soviet Union for the USSR.
He had an unbelievable career back in the USSR. Oh, sorry, I really tried not to get that in. That was accidental. He played for Dynamo Kiev, obviously a huge football club, and he got 45 caps for the Soviet Union. Now, what you need to remember about that was the Soviet Union was the biggest country the world has ever seen.
Yeah,
they have no shortage of folk to pick from.
They're the travelling Wilburys of European countries. They just had all the best countries and lumped under one sickle.
That might be the best analogy either of us have ever come out with. And he played the Euro 88 final. Yeah, it would have been just before he went to Ipswich. And it was, in the end, it was a defeat. He came off the bench for the Soviet Union against Holland, and it was a game, by that point, they were 2-0 down. Hull had scored, and then Van Basten scored arguably the greatest goal anyone has ever scored. So yeah, so as I say, he had a storied career for Dynamo and for the national team of the USSR. A little bit of a tougher time at Ipswich. It didn't really work for him, but he got his move up to Saints. I say he got his move. He came up to Saints, and the rest is really history.
Yeah, he came up and it didn't take him too long to settle, but he ended up playing 100-odd games for the club. He was one of these few players that out of defence you could turn defence into attack and get balls forward that kind of Alan Moore and the likes would generally be tasked to do. But he was outstanding, absolutely outstanding as a player. He kind of got a bit sour when Alex Totten was sacked. We'll get to that one episode, I'm sure. And John McClellan didn't take a fancy to him. He wanted to move the club in a younger direction. But like all players that come to the club, he says that he loved Perth, he loved the people here, and it was perfect for his young family. And yeah, he speaks very warmly about everything about the club. It was a shame it ended up the way it did with him, but it was great to have him here while he did. He was probably our first ever superstar player. And the fact he's number 2 in the all-time list of greats of the club shows you what an impact he made in the 100-odd games he played for the club.
Yeah, if you're only somewhere for 3 years, which in football terms isn't an awful lot of time, and you're being voted or you're being heralded as the second best player your club's ever had.
Only behind John Connolly, nonetheless.
Only behind John Connolly. You have done something pretty special in that time. I mean, you forget, probably more so when he went to Ipswich, what a sort of big thing that was, and what an adventurous and brave move from the man, because
you didn't speak a word of the Queen's when he moved over? No,
didn't speak a word of English. He's 1988. Tensions were sort of, probably by the time he moved to Saints, 1990, the Cold War was foreign. I mean, it was pretty much, the USSR was about to dissolve. But when he moved to Ipswich, things were really maybe, I think, probably more heightened in terms of actually what was going on in the USSR at that point. So maybe it was a good thing for him to get out. But
tune in next week's Kids as Dan covers the suffragettes.
I've got to put that degree to some use. I did study this stuff. Moving away from history hour with Danny Williams. It was quite a big deal. He moved to Saints. He obviously really enjoyed Scotland as well, because his next move for such a decorated football, such a fabulous footballer, he went and played juniors.
Yeah.
Because he moved to, admittedly there was stuff going on around that at the time, but he moved to Inverness Caledonian, who at the time were a Highland League side. And obviously, as I think majority of people know, he ended up playing Scottish Football League again because there was the merge between Caledonian and Inverness Thistle to create Inverness Caledonian Thistle. But so he obviously loved it up here, and as you say, he said as much. But just what I'm going to get mocked by you again, but what an absolute Rolls Royce of a footballer.
Rolls fucking Royce, mate. Do you know what, Dan?
What?
He'd be an awfully good guest, wouldn't he?
He would be an awfully good guest.
Wonder if we could try and get him on.
Leave that one with us.
We'll see what we can do with that one. It's George O'Boyle in the Royal. He's back. And he's open if you've got a beer garden.
You've seen the forecast?
No, is it rank all week? Is it?
It's rotten all week.
Of course it is. Of course it is. If you've been out and about anywhere at all and you've seen a St Johnstone player doing anything that's not being football related, let us know. And we've got a couple of crackers this week, Dan.
You know what we do like, Sam?
The 80s?
No.
The 70s?
They had good hair, but no.
The noughties?
I do like the noughties. No, we love the 90s though, Sam.
We do love the 90s, and these two are dripping in 90s nostalgia this week, Dan.
Oh, these are fantastic, Sam.
There's not much we can say about them other than I'll go into the first one, and they seen Jim Weir not out delivering furniture in Bankfoot. They seen him in Blockbuster Video in the mid-90s.
That is a very, very 90s thing.
Yeah, it could only have been up there along with Alan Main playing with a Tamagotchi or something like that.
That seems unlikely.
First world problems these days, Dan. Like, see when I'm watching Netflix or something and like the wee buffering things, it's on like 27%, 28, 29%. I'm like, fuck's sake, hurry up, I don't have all day. Back in the day when you had to go to a shop to get a film, come home, watch it. What a bloody farce that was.
You know what was the sort of apparently the crime of the century to video shops?
Oh, if you didn't rewind them back.
Oh, if you didn't rewind it back to the beginning.
Heavy fines. Heavy fines for that.
Deep shit.
I miss video shops.
Me too, son. Me too, son.
And the next one is also very heavily 90s based if you lived in Tayside and you know the area. Once upon a time in Stack's Leisure Park stood a bowling alley. That one was the Mega Bowl, and somebody only went and spotted John McQuillan there.
Again, very, very 90s. Is there even any bowling alleys kicking about now?
I think there's one in Dunfermline, I think maybe be the closest, but it's not. I think there's Noah's Ark up in Perth. There's like 4 lanes, but not like the old school where you got zap zones and stuff. If you've ever seen a Saints player in a zap zone, wow, that'd be impressive. That would be the holy grail other than seeing. If you see George O'Boyle in a zap zone, let us know instantly and we'll give you money. But we need photographic evidence.
You know what's the best thing about going to bowling alley?
Go on.
Air hockey.
Oh yeah, I like an air hockey.
Air hockey.
It was.
Always air hockey.
Always air hockey, yeah, you're right. Yep. I like bowling. It's an expensive day out now, apparently. Used to be like maybe 3 or 4 quid.
I can't remember last time I went.
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4 quid a go, but now it's up to like 30, 40 quid.
Jesus. The club shop is same special.
That is it.
On the bowling alley industry.
So, John McQuillan in the Mega Bowl in Dundee. We've had Jim Weir in Blockbuster Video. If you can think of 2 more 90s references than that, by all means, please let us know. But if you've ever seen any Saints players, Dan?
What about if I've seen any Saints? Yeah, I don't know where you're going with this, man. I don't know.
I was just hoping you'd maybe let the listeners know what they can do.
You know what to do. I was only teasing you.
I was convinced there. I thought you were like, what's going on?
There was a genuine moment there where you just thought I'd forgotten we were recording. Or what?
You got me.
Anyway.
You got me.
There we go. You know who else might have been got, Sam?
Go on.
90s mainstay Darren Dodds, if he was at the centre of a hilarious joke by TV funster Jeremy Beadle. It could have happened. If you saw it happen, you know what to do. You let us know. Doesn't have to be Doddsy. Doesn't have to be Beadle. You might have seen another 90s mainstay, Paddy Connolly, living it up big time with his Pokemon cards. Have you seen it? You might have seen it. It might have happened. You know what to do. You let us know. Get there.
That was the most enthusiasm we've had out of that in a long time. Brilliant. Have we got time for another Twitter poll, Dan?
If we've not, I think we can make time, Sam.
I think so. So here it is. Now, this one was a bit more straightforward. It was a simple yes or no. Tell us more, Dan.
I can't believe I'm having to do this.
Dan feels like
very close to the bone for me.
This felt like a direct threat to Dan when we put up this Twitter poll.
It wasn't a direct threat. It was a fucking blatant jibe.
What was the Twitter poll, Dan?
Quick poll. Chris Kane had a bit of a makeover this week. Which do you prefer? 14% of you preferred side sweep. 86% preferred shaven raven.
There you go. I always thought it was shaven haven.
I don't know. You put it up, Norrie.
Yeah.
Well, either way, most of you prefer, a vast majority of you think he looks better not covering up his inevitable fate and just embracing it.
Do you take anything from this poll, Dan?
When you seen I've had a haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. Do I take anything from this poll? No, well, the piling of everyone and the missus literally jumping in on various forms of social media, telling me to take note.
But 86% is our highest ever total in any poll we've ever done.
Incorrect.
Oh.
The Melamed Bergkamp one.
Oh, yeah.
Still annoyed that 3% of people didn't get the joke and didn't give us a result we wanted.
Yeah, 97% of people voted that was the better goal than any of Dennis Bergkamp's goals. Absolutely fair enough. But there he is. That's 3 Twitter polls this week. We've got St Johnstone's comeback against Aberdeen in the Scottish Cup semi, winning that one. James Dunne confirmed as Saints' best ever loan signing, and Chris Kane's new hairdo being the best of all.
And as we know, the results of this are binding in law.
This is very true. Don't know how it affects anything, but it is.
We'll just go with it.
But let's go back, all the way back to Wednesday night, where Saints played Rangers again. Well, first, I should say, in the league.
Yeah, it did. And what it reminded me of, Sam, and I want to focus on the 2 managers mainly, is it was the first part of the double header, like in Mighty Ducks 2, with Callum taking on the role of Coach Gordon Bombay and
Emilio Estevez.
And Steven Gerrard taking on the role of Wolf the Dentist Stanson, the bad guy. But this is not the Junior Goodwill Games.
This is not.
This was the SPFL Premiership. We're very tired. I've got to be honest with you. We're very tired and just coming out with anything now. It's all up for grabs. Who fucking knows what we're going to come out with next?
The USSR was the travelling Wilburys of European countries.
Well, we're coming to the end of the line. Right, Wednesday night's game.
I think you're not finishing off your analogy about Callum and Steven Gerrard.
Was it? Gerrard's Wolf the Dentist Stanson and Callum's Gordon Bombay. I tell you what, actually, I'm going to go back to tonight's game very, very quickly. Callum jumping about on the touchline when Big Xander scored. He's brilliant.
It's the most animated I've seen him.
Yeah, it actually reminded me a little bit. He's just such a nice fellow, is what whenever you see him interviewed, because he could have, we'll come on to it, he could have been rightly pissed off after Wednesday night, but he was just so, he could have rightly slated the referee, but he just didn't. He just kept his cool. But the League Cup final, when he was jumping about, when they were picking the trophy up, and then tonight, he was so animated, it was brilliant. Anyway, Wednesday night's game.
We'll touch on a couple of the points in it. It finished 1-1, another late goal. We've had a couple of them this week. There was 3 potential penalties in that match. We'll talk through them very, very briefly. The first one was a combination between Rooney getting pulled in the box, but I think it was for a handball. Was it a penalty, yes or no?
No, not for me. And I think the referee, that was the one he was getting pelters for. But I think they got it right between them. I think the referee's giving it for a handball. He's gone over to the linesman. The linesman's obviously said he didn't see a handball in there. He's looking across the line. You know what? It didn't look great that the referee's overturning a decision that he's made from 5 yards away by deferring to a guy who's 25 yards away.
Yeah.
But I think they got it right. I think it would have been soft if it was when I thought it was a pull back, as everyone did at first, it was one of them that I thought, the dreaded 3-letter word VAR, whichever way the ref had given that, wouldn't have overturned it.
Yep.
It was that borderline. And that's when it seemed strange that he'd overturned it on the linesman's advice. But if it was handball, the lino could see across. It wasn't a handball. I also think it would have been soft if it was for a pullback. So I think he got that one right.
Second one, handball in the box for Simpson.
Fucking stonewall penalty. The lad he's moved towards it. His arm, he's sort of by his side, but not.
I've spoken to a referee this week in regards to this, and he says no penalty.
Really?
Yep, and I'll read out word for word what he said. Not for me. I've watched the video. If it hits the left hand, 100%, but that right hand is never a penalty in a million years, in my opinion. I get the confusion, though, as with all the changes and amendments to the laws, literally every time the ball hits a hand, players and fans are expecting a penalty now. But I thought he leaned into it.
Yeah, I thought he did. Yeah, look, it wasn't given at the end of the day, but yeah, I thought it was a penalty.
The third one, at the time, I thought it probably wasn't a penalty or very soft, but I've watched it back plenty times now, and he clips him in midair. It's a penalty.
See, I thought Kane had his foot.
Okay.
Not that I'm complaining. Yeah, I didn't think it was a penalty. That's all. Look, the ref's got to make a decision. He's got to make a decision based on what he sees.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done that. Whether there was a bit of a totting up process with the last one, I don't know. But yeah, I'll be honest with you, Sam. I don't particularly care.
No, not at all.
Not about the one that was given anyway. About the two that weren't, I probably should claim I care.
Yeah, but we got a point, and it was definitely something we deserved out of that game. I thought we played really well. That effort from Stevie May, I thought, was terrific throughout.
He was fantastic, absolutely brilliant, and it went throughout the team. I thought Saints played some fantastic football.
Yep, they did what they needed to do. And to get a point, that point could be absolutely vital. Liam Craig, as we know, pops up with some vital moments for the club in terms of getting us where we need to be, and that could be the point which could see us overtake Livy in the last game of the season. But we will have to get past Hibernian first. We've got them on Saturday. Now, last week we said, will we go back to one up front with Chris Kane? We said, yep, that'll happen. We'll likely lose both the games. As we know in the St Johnstone podcast, we don't get anything right, and none of that happened. We didn't lose any of the games, and they started with May and Melmed both times. Explain yourself, Williams.
You put yourself out there, you make predictions, and you just got to deal with it. If it turns out to be wrong, you just have to deal with it. Or send threatening letters to Callum Davidson telling him not to make me look a right tit again.
But how do you think we'll get on against Hibs?
I don't know. That is my incisive assessment on that. Is look, I like how that is the best I could muster. I don't know. I think what I would say is, to be fair, they've got a week to recover, but both teams have gone the distance this weekend, like the absolute distance. So, but they should be okay by next Saturday. I think Saints will the blueprint's there against Hibs. Not so much the semi-final, but that game we played against McDermott, where we didn't play particularly well, but controlled the midfield for a large portion of the game and won 1-0. So, Hibs are third in the league for a reason. You get what you deserve in football unless you decide to go and form another league. It's the league table seldom lies. But there's not a lot between the teams. We've beat them a couple of times this season. They beat us once. It's been a draw. You know what? I think it could be another draw.
I would take that. Another point. But as you know, with your predictions, Dan, it would probably mean 6-0 Saints. And that would be lovely. But we're just going to feast on the cup run that Callum Davidson is still on. Worst possible draw we got in the last round. We've navigated it. Now it's going to be between us, Hibs, Dundee United, and at the time of recording, Killie or St Mirren, but we'll find out who we get in the next round out of them four. What would you like? Who would you like?
You know what? It's a very similar situation to the League Cup. What I would say is there isn't a Livy in there. At that time, I would have done anything to avoid Livy. And we did until the final.
I would take Livy now.
But I'd take Livy now. But, I mean, the sort of two teams that I always think bring the worst out of Saints are Livy and Aberdeen, and they're both out. So, not one against Dundee United this season, and they were very good in their quarter-final. Admittedly, Aberdeen were howling.
They were honking, eh?
They were dreadful. But, you know what? Take anyone. Doesn't matter. You've got to beat two. If you're going to win the cup, you've got to beat two of the three of them. I know it's technically four at the minute, but yeah, Killie and St Mirren will sort itself out tomorrow night.
We will discuss it all next week.
You've got to beat two of the three of them. We will do. In an ideal world, I'd want to avoid Hibs.
Yeah.
It's just because I think they'll have something to play for after the League Cup semi.
Or we've got the beating of them.
Or we've got to beat them. Look, it's four teams that there's not a lot between them. So take what you get, see what happens, and all being well, I mean, we've got a little while to think about it. We've got a couple of weeks to think about it, but it's tantalising now, isn't it?
Oh, it's getting awfully close, but...
You know the one thing, just before we finish up, because we are knackered, and it is late, but the one thing that needs to come out of tonight, and I don't mean to be buzzkilling today, but the one thing that needs to come out of tonight, that can't be the cup final tonight. They'll be on an almighty buzz, and like beating Rangers on penalties at Ibrox, unbelievable. But that just has to be another step in the road. They can't take like mentally they can't switch. And they won't. But knowing that group of lads, they won't. Knowing the manager.
Remember you said a couple of weeks ago it'd be very St Johnstone-like to beat either side of the Old Firm and get put out by a Motherwell. That was your exact quote on this podcast about 3 weeks ago.
No, I just swapped Motherwell for Dundee United.
Oh, God. But that's it. What a week it's been for Saints again.
Chaos, man.
Absolute chaos.
Absolute. I mean, it's just a Chuckles University Football Club, isn't it? It's absolutely incredible.
But drink it in, people. Enjoy it while we can. It's an amazing time to be a St Johnstone supporter. But a few more things just to finish on. Our Nick Dazovic campaign is gaining momentum. I was actually in the PA this week. Thanks to Matty Gallagher for doing a wee report on that. Now, I've got to edit all this podcast down for its release. I just don't know who to contact if I have any IT problems, Dan.
Well, if you have any IT problems and you need IT solutions, why don't you contact this episode's sponsor, Flonix?
Well, that's a good idea because Flonix offer flexible IT support, professional IT project delivery and expert IT advice. I can contact them on 01738 500 400 or visit flonix.co.uk.
I mean, you got all the details there. In all seriousness, a massive thanks to Dan and the gang at Flonix who've supported us through this episode. Check out the website. It's sorry.
No, you will not. That was our one stipulation of Flonix supporting this podcast is we do not spell it out at any point. And I can live with that.
Great work for small businesses. And it's a local firm, headquartered in Perth, and the office is all about the country. So massive thanks to them for sponsoring us for this episode.
It is. And thanks again to you.
Sorry about the song.
Oh, I thought the song was a highlight. So let's finish with the song. Take it away, Dan.
Flonix. If you can't spell it, Guidi will instead. It's Flonix. They do IT solutions that I think are nice. See you next week, everybody.
Bye, everyone.